Hi, Assalamualaikum, Salam Sejahtera, Ni Hao and Vanakkam. We have discussed in the previous chapter who we really are and where we're coming from. In the previous chapter, God asked us, Am khuliqu min ghairi shay'in, can you really come from nothing? Am humul khaliqun, are you the creator of your own self? You see your own self, and you see this. Am khalaqus samawati wal ard. And who created this heaven and hell, this huge universe? Bala yukin. No, they are not certain. So basically, now that the scientific community stands now, and probably that should be stand until the end of time. We'll never know whether something can come up from nothing. So that is to me a timeless, profound question that's been asked 1,400 years ago, that is valid then, valid now, and valid until the end of time. So there is only one possible answer. That's basically something higher, transcendental, whatever you want to call it, that has put us into being in this whole universe. And you can agree that's to me such a logical and unifying answer, and we call it God. Very simplistic. Simplistic but logical too in that sense. Now we're going to discuss why we cannot see God, because to most people, seeing is believing to them. Is that so? The point is, to me, to be very fair and honest, I just want to be direct. So most of us don't really bother to ask this kind of question. We don't stop and at least think, seriously and sincerely on this kind of issue. We just get on with our life and just follow people around us. So at least now, if you mom and see my video, at least we stop together and discuss on this possibility. Okay, you see this pen? Is this? Can you see this pen? Of course we can. But can the pen see us? If the pen cannot see us, doesn't mean that we don't exist. So to me, I'm trying to put this analogy that we are in this context. We are the creation. We are the pen. The whole universe and us are the pen. And God is sitting outside the universe. God not part of creation. This is probably a little bit deep and complex to understand, but this is simplistic ways of trying to explain to you why we cannot see God, because God has created in such a way that we cannot see Him yet. The same thing like we created the pen to write, not to see us, not to think anything else than writing something. Okay, we go along. So that's how I try to explain. I've also explained a little bit in the previous chapter, like we cannot see sun, but we can with our naked eyes, but we can feel. And from other source, the existence of sun, but by the heat and whatnot, we cannot see wind. One of the billions of creation of God, we cannot see wind, but we can feel wind, the impacts on us and stuff like that. So, we cannot see feelings, love, sadness, whatever, but we know that the feelings through the facial and body language, facial expression of someone, but we cannot see the actual feeling itself. So to me, that is the thing that so the same logic that applies to us. We cannot see God, but we can see the signs of God. So in this ayah, there is one ayah that to me quite profound as well that I want to share is when God says in Surah Fussilat verses 53, basically chapter 41 verses 53, God says, Sanurihim ayatina fil afaki. I have manifest my signs, the evidence of God in afaki, the whole sky, the universe. You have seen from the videos that how, at least now in the 21st century, that we know that the sky is so huge as compared to us that we are nothing. we are just nothing, speck of dust in a sea of dust. And God says, I am the God of the whole universe. The things that you know, and many things that you don't even know, that probably you can't even know the end of boundaries of this universe. And this thing was revealed 1,400 of years ago. I know people, some sense you can grasp that how big is this universe compared to us. And God further extend the ayah, wafi anfusikum, and in yourself. You can, this is huge universe, and on your own self, you cannot, if you cannot grasp how, the big and complex universe, you just see your own self that you can touch. Your hands, your everything. That's how, even now we can have more information how complex our body system is, the immune system, and to the smallest of details that we can grasp, we can know the complexity of human being and this whole universe. Until hatta yatabayyana lahum anna al-haq. Until it's manifest to them, until it's clear to them that the truth. This magnificence of this creation. So just imagine the creator of this magnificent creation must even be, I don't know, limitless, powerful, and yet we, being the creation, being the pen, dare to ask, why I cannot see you, God? That kind of thing. So you don't feel that in a certain sense you are. With your small brain, you try to I don't know, say something that you're not supposed to be saying. Awalam yakfi. Okay, this is, to me, God conclude this whole discussion with some very powerful, humbling ayah, in the sense that awalam yakfi annahu ala kulli shay'in shahid. Is it not enough, sufficient for me? It's not sufficient to get to your Lord that He is the witness over all things. We do our stuff as a creation, as a human being, to do what we're supposed to do, to use our limited free will and intellect that we have, that been created by God, to ponder upon this thing and see how small is our intellect, and anything else that we cannot comprehend, that we cannot understand, we leave it to God. Who's God? God that created me and the whole universe. And what I'm supposed to be doing here? I'm supposed to be doing good things. I'm supposed to promote truth. I'm supposed to stay on that course. That's basically, I'm giving you snippets of what the purpose of life is supposed to be in my next chapter. Okay, we go on. Okay, the point is, of course, there is some smart aleck will ask why I cannot see God. Why you cannot see God? Yeah, of course, God reveal. There are many interconnected questions that it's impossible for me to lay down to answer everything. I don't know where you know. Of course, it's more important to me. It's a lifelong quest for truth, for answers, for our purpose, for the meanings of life, and of course the inquisition, the query is something that's welcome. Okay, why God doesn't reveal Himself to us? Why cannot just God pop up and see, hello Tim, hello Cheryl, I'm God, worship me. Hello, once again, know your place. We're talking about God that's created this whole universe, and is He not worthy to do what is worthy to do, being a God? Whatever He likes, You've created us and everything else, unless of course that you have created, you can create your own self. Then you bow to no one but yourself. Okay, I'll just continue. Why we cannot see God? God said, "Allazi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. Wa huwal azizul ghafur." To me, this one stretch is basically Surah Al-Mulk, Surah 67 verses 2. To me, it's quite powerful, and I think it's quite enough to explain why God doesn't manifest That's how we want it to be manifested. Allazi khalaqal mauta. God say, I'm the one who created death. I created death. You give some sense of, we're going to die. Allazi khalaqal mauta wal haya taliyabluwakum. I've created death. I've created death and life. Liyabluwakum. For me to test. Ayyukum, among you. And among you, ahsanu amala. Who's the one who can is in the best of his deed, who can do the most good, the most possibly good, probably the one that can find God, even without able to see God with his naked eyes, but he can see the signs of God everywhere and anywhere that he opened his eyes to, or probably he opened his heart to God, that you can see, the sign of God everywhere. And for God to test whether you can find him and able to do good things, to promote justice from every waking hours, every conscious hours until you die, and you ask other people to do the same. Like what Aristotle say, we got reasons and also the language that over animals that we're supposed to promote this kind of thing. That's what human being, the essence of being human being. We got it through extra advantage over animals and plants. So whether those who can see this thing, the logical, simple logic, there is God, you cannot come from nothing. Can you do good things and promote justice and truth and stay on that path? And this whole life that we are living in is part of a big task, that is so complex, so hard to understand, because our small brain and do the human stuff we're supposed to be doing. Just do good stuff and promote truth. Can you God and Wahwal Azizul Ghafur. God complete the sentence. Wahwal Azizul Ghafur. God is all forgiving. This thing is super hard to really understand. To really, one is having the heart to find God, to find the truth. Second is try to understand with our small brain, which we can if we choose to. And what more important is, harder is whether we can, after having that understanding, whether we can put our understanding into actions. Because at the end of the day, this is in Islam, I just share with you, we call it mutakin. The one who can really manifest his belief into action, into good deeds. So some people can say he's good, he's tough, he's a believing, but what good are you as a believing person if you cannot translate that into good actions? And God says, I said, Wahwal Azizul Ghafur, basically God is all forgiving because God is the creator of yourself. God knows how weak you are, so God will forgive you. In fact, God says God will forgive all sins, every sin, all sin, no matter how much sins that you commit, God will forgive it. If you're sincerely acknowledging your sins, your mistake, God will forgive anything. What God wants is basically for you to see, well, I've committed many sins. I'm 70 or 80 now. I'm going to die anytime soon. Forgive me, God. I've not, one thing that we are distracted with this life because we also have this another element which is called it enough or desire, which is desire that we can use for good thing, also for bad things. That's how we assume, that's a test how we can manage that desire with using our intellect. So, but God says, I'll forgive you. Except, in Islam we believe, except, God says, except if you ask, if you not ask from me, or if you worship other God than me in this life, Meaning to say, God will forgive you. It doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how much a mistake that you make, but I'll still forgive you if you ask from me. But if you ask from other God, if you worship other God, and go and ask from that other God on the day of judgment, don't ask from me. Life is a test. I'll just complete with one or two to complete this thing. Why the This is basically, I've already explained everything in the Surah Al-Mulk, again, Surah 67, verses 12, the wisdom why you cannot see God. Innal ladzina shawna rabbahum bil ghaibi. Very those who fear the Lord unseen. This is a beauty. What good of testing someone if you already see the heaven and hell? Why should we test someone? If you do good things, you go to heaven. If you do bad things, you go to hell. You can see the heaven already. So, is there any person that has that tiny brain will opt for hell rather than heaven? There is none. So God won't do something unnecessary, ungodly to. So there is no meaning to test if we already seen God. So God wants to test you before you can see God, but you can see the sign of God. You can use your little brain. You can talk to good people and find Him and do good things. Okay? Innal ladzina yakhshawna rabbahum, those who fear God. Rabbahum bil ghaibi. If not seen, the heaven and hell, stuff like that. Wa maghfiratun ajrun kabir. And there's be forgiveness and great reward. So this is the whole crux of the thing. Like Aristotle says, like Pablo Picasso, who's the hell, Mark Twain. Part of our purpose in this life is basically to find that purpose, And if you find that one, put that into action. So, and translate that into good deeds, And inshallah, God willing, you'll get that forgiveness and reward. I just want to add this extra ayah. Actually, there's so many things, but since we are at this thing, because to me this is the common reason or problem why people cannot see God. It is in Surah Furqan, Surah chapter 52, verses 44. God says, "Am tahsabu anna aktsarahum yasma'un." Or do you think that most of them hear or understand? And God talking to you, talking to every one of you, even myself, once upon a time, not so long ago. They are only like cattle, In hum illa kal an'am. In hum, they are only illa ka'anhum. They are but like cattle, an'am. Bal hum adallu. They are even further astray from the fact. This is to me when God completes certain sentence, really hit you hard on your face. Bal hum adallu sabila. They are even further astray from the past. In other words, you are worse than cattle. Cattle are cattle or animals because they are animals, because they don't have brains to fathom, to find stuff, to discern what is right and wrong. But you are different. You got your bloody reason, faculty of mind, intellect to think. Use that. Use that to make your decision. To pick truth from wrong, even though it is hard. I know it's easy for us just to follow the flow like everyone else, It's from someone who can, I always like this quote or saying that wrong is wrong even everyone is doing it, and right is right even you are only the only one who's doing it, even though we'll see you as a crazy person. I just conclude what my point with the last ayah. This is basically Surah Al-An'am. This is basically cattle. Surah 6, verses 116. Wa in tutik aksara man fil ardi yudilluka an sabilillah. And if you obey most of those on earth, they mislead you far away from Allah's path. I think I've discussed in the first chapter that most of us, that we are thrown into this world and we see people walking, we just follow wherever they go. They go to school, they go to work, they got married, without even really stop and think our purpose, why things are the way they are. If you follow most people, they will mislead you far away from from Allah from the right path, because most people follow their own desire without thinking. And God basically complete, illa dhanna wa in hum illa yahrusun. They follow nothing but conjectures, and they do nothing but lie. You know, of course, most people are followers, that's fair enough. But those who got brain, got tiny brain, all those religious leaders, why we have many factions, why we have many religion, why we have many gods. Yeah, part of it is our own stupidity for following some stupid people because of our own desire. We have part to be blamed. And second, actually God demolish those who got brain and power, but you use it in the wrong way to get the small benefit of this world. What I'm trying to say is, as Islam, we believe that God is from Adam, not from Prophet Muhammad SAW. But just along the way, some people are being creative, try to get more followers. They said, "Oh, I've seen God spoken to me." They come up with a new laws that simplify certain ruling that God has. No, it's okay. You can drink, you can do whatever that you want to do in this world, so long as you follow the teachings that God had ordained to me, and you'll be fine. You'll go to heaven, and people follow. So this guy, I've seen God. God is like that. God is, The point is, if you have any proof other than God has created you and this whole universe, come with a concrete proof to me now, so we can know. So that's the thing, because you'll be asked on the day of judgment after you die, and we all die. God will ask that, and we have to make decision now before we die. Yeah, make yours, and that you should be able to happy with your decision now in this life, and of course more importantly after we die. With that, in the next chapter I'll really discuss on who the true God should be. I think from that you'll see a clearer picture of what a true God should be, and to me it's super logical and super unifying and super good, and I don't know how to put in any other forms, but to me there is no other religious scriptures in this whole universe until now that has described God as clear as how Islam has put it. I stand to be corrected, but I think that's enough. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.